For me, prototyping is a hugely underutilised tool across marketing. Generally, most marketing content development tends to follow a very traditional project flow. A timeline's created, then you do draft content, then you do a design, and functional documents are developed and signed off all separately. Then it gets put together and reviewed once it's almost 95% final. An example might be a 5-page detail aid that's needed in 5 weeks. Traditionally, week 1 is planning and scoping. You might send a timeline and maybe you start some sort of copy document. In week 2, you send over the copy outline with references, review it with the client. Client says, great. Week 3, you send the design and review it with no content. Client says, I love this design, it's great. Week 4, you send a full copy document with references, all proofed and perfect, to review it. Client says, great, this content works really well. Week 5, you send the content in the design. Now all of a sudden the client thinks, actually, there's too much content on each slide, there's a key bit of data missing, it's not really visual enough, and there's no dynamic to it, it doesn't move. In effect, it's back to the drawing board. The client gives you 1 extra week to get the changes done, or tells you they're going to change agency if you don't make it a lot better. Now, taking a prototyping approach, you use week 1 and 2 to create a copy outline in the design, in a draft design, showing what each page is roughly going to look like. You don't worry too much about references or details, you just get the flow in the design as close to right as you can. Client says, I don't like it, I don't like the flow, it's missing data, there's too much content on each page, I don't know how it's going to animate from this version. For week 3, you refine the design, you update the flow, you add the missing data, and you show a few animation ideas. The client says, okay, it's getting better, but I still don't like page 3, and we need to make sure you can access more detail on some of the key data. In week 4, you add some dynamic builds to provide that little more detail, but with less content in the core flow. You fix slide 3, add an animation elements, and finalize the referencing. The client says there's still this little error on page 3. In week 5, you fix the error, do your final proofing checks, and send it all to the client. The client says, this is great, thanks. Now, the reason prototyping works so well is simple. Once you've seen how a brief has been interpreted, it sparks other ideas, it highlights problems with people's understanding early in the process. You see how all the elements work together a lot earlier, and that means you get more meaningful feedback earlier. In short, it helps you move problems from appearing at the end of the process to appearing towards the start of the process. The sooner you identify the changes that are needed, the simpler it is to solve them and focus on making something that's as good as it can be. So hopefully that shows how prototyping can transform the success of projects. For more on the skills that will help you work smarter, check out the rest of the videos in this section and subscribe to ensure you get the latest content.